All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Nashville Superspeedway Week 5 of 14 in our Xfinity series. Here with me tonight, got Adam Roberts and Milton Minter Jr. has decided to join us this week. So good to have everyone here in the booth with me tonight. Go ahead and take a look at that track temperature here, see what we're dealing with, and maybe some other stuff. Uh, Guys, go ahead and say what's up.
Well, how's everyone doing tonight? Yeah, we're at Nashville tonight. The points are still a little tight race. Top five we've got Tony Brewer. He's with his 2 wins this season. He's up at the top of 23. Then we got Sean Bounty, 22, with his. In second, we got Justin Bird at 22, tied with him with 1 win. And then we got Matt Watkins at 21, and then Shane Wisman at 18, top five. But, right behind him, you got Sean Reap, that is, Greg, Roger, Craig, Jeff Hale, just at 17, 16, 15. So all right there.
Yeah, and it's early. Yeah, it's only week 5,
and
so it's still anybody's championship at this point. We got a good crowd tonight. I think we got 20 drivers out there. This is obviously a favorite. The super speedways and the fast tracks tend to draw a larger crowd versus the short tracks. We don't have a lot of short trackers here, or people that like road courses. So it's good to have a decent crowd.
Yeah.
FSB Racing, Fresno to Shell Beach. That's what that stands for.
That's right.
.com at Nashville, and we got the birds in the house and the bird fan club.
Of course we do.
We had a nice little conversation for the race with Mr. Bundy, and we got some really good info about what he thinks this track's going to run. That's probably be somewhere around 37, 38 laps. Is probably about as far as they want to go on fuel and tires.
Yeah, and they're going for 100 laps, so they have to stop at least twice. They want to make it, but
yeah,
we've been known to have a few caution-free races, so it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for us to see that here tonight. Knock on wood.
Well, Mama, there goes that man qualifying first. We haven't seen him in a while in the 15. The multiple most winningest driver in the history of FSB, Matt Watkins, right on cue and right on point.
Yep, falling behind him there's Tony Brewer, another fan favorite. He won last week's race, so he's an up and comer here, and he's certainly making a name for himself.
Yeah, we got Sean Reap.
Hey, look at Sean right there, pulling out third.
Yeah.
Well, I think Sean every week's going to get better in this sim. P4 there, guy we were talking about, Mr. Bounty, he's definitely thinks he knows how this track's going to end up at the end of the night, and he plans on being in front.
Let's hope so. Yeah, speaking of Sean, Sean was OG NASCAR Racing 2003 driver for many years. Like most, kind of reluctant to come over to iRacing, but here he is, and he seems to have found his groove at Nashville tonight. Here we got the qualifying.
Yeah, and then top 5 there is Wisman there, Shane Wisman, and he's won some races, and he was the champ last year, correct?
Yeah,
and,
sure
so he's tough there. Then as you go down the line there, see some new faces. To me, which is great. Good to see new drivers here. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're new to racing. They're just, I haven't seen them before. So,
yeah, very true.
And then you got some old faves there. Legendary Jeff Hale, the Superspeedway king back in the day. He's also, an OG getting back into, running this sim. And of course, the legendary Pops Margaretson.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, can't forget about Pops.
Stuka's, qualifying 11th. He's run well. He seems to be a second half of the race kind of guy. And Justin Bird, we're used to seeing him up front a little farther along. And we've seen Soak Up and Tiger run before that, I believe. And these are a lot of really good competitive drivers. When you see some of these other guys qualifying in the back, and, they ain't no slouches.
Yeah, certainly a competitive field. There will be no shortage of action tonight. There's Dan Jones, 007.
Do you expect me to crash? No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to win.
Is that your pick? Dan Jones, your pick tonight?
Mr. Bond. Oh man. Yeah, I'll go for Dan with the heck.
All right, okay.
But he's going to be shaken, not stirred, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If he's stirred, then he's going to be like a
Got some new camera angles tonight too.
Yeah.
Got the reverse roof cam. If I mess something up, it's just me.
Nice. Wow, cool, man. FSB sparing no expense here with these new cameras. As we watch on the back and see a couple cars. We watch the real guys coming out of turn 2. That wall comes at you real, like Dale Jr. says. Wall comes at you real fast.
Who else we got out there? Travis Sukup. Brandon Kiger. Haven't seen him in a while.
I expect right now Matt Watkins is doing practice pit stops because that's what he's always done throughout the years. He's been around long enough to where I actually raced against him and beat him like once maybe or twice, and he couldn't believe it. Every now, blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yeah.
Yes, nice big field, a lot of cars. Greenwood, he always runs well. All these guys that now that I've been back broadcasting and starting to get to remember them, and my brain is pretty fried, but eventually it sticks in my head.
I think Michael Greenwood, he was telling me about, he got some new things for his sim rig, like some sim rockers he attached to his rig to really get a little bit more feel for the car.
That's pretty cool. I've heard of the butt kickers.
Yeah, that's what they are. Yeah,
is that they are? Okay, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. He's got one in the front and one in the rear. So I don't know how much they're helping him tonight. I'm sure the bumps are going to be real. That's what this track is famous for.
Oh yeah,
some big bumps.
Very true.
So,
all right, time to grid all.
Yeah, you heard the real guys talking about that all through all the 3 broadcasts with the trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup.
Yeah.
I've watched a couple times Saska running good in the Cup car with some custom Marconi setups, but him jumping in this car, we'll have to see how he handles the car. It's probably a little bit tighter with a fixed setup. All these drivers do drive the same setups, that way you don't have to put so much time into it, and you've got this, it's the driver, not the there's a lot of other things, equipment, practice. Practice kind of helps, and skill. That usually helps too.
Never hurts.
So starts and restarts, cautions breed cautions, and strategy could very well play in as far as, who wants to see how long guys can go saving tires and staying out and avoiding getting caught on the caution, the overcut, undercut.
That's what
I
it's
think
all
that's
about.
really going to be, important with this big field.
Yeah, it's certainly. Typically, we have close to 20, but anytime we get over 20 is always exceptional. So glad to see everyone out here.
Yeah, heck yeah! Thanks for showing up, and man, it makes it funner for us too, broadcasting and the fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you got 20 guys, then you start thinking if you get a top 10, when you got 12 cars and you get a top 10, it doesn't really mean nothing, But when you got 20 guys and you get a top 10, it's a good run.
Yep, there's the pace cars coming off, so.
All right, let's get to it.
Getting ready to go green. Matt leads them down. There's a green. They're already fanning out.
Usually when Matt decides to try to get pole and gets it, then he runs faster than normal, or he'll know pretty quick. And he'll know pretty quick if he wants to let guys go by and settle in and try to stay through. Right now, it looks like he's pushing pretty hard.
Yeah, he's definitely pushing.
The Bazooka Toyota, he's always rocking the Toyota. Throughout the years, loving he's a big fan of, Back to the Future. In fact, he's on my phone, and when his name comes up, I see Marty McFly. I don't know if he looks like that, but I just always see him hey, what was that? Ooh, punching you in the tree. Looked like a tree and leaves. Tony Brewer, we see how he can structure his race and has the skill to manage tire wear. Definitely Bundy was talking about, hot and slit. So good start for these guys, and really competitive here. Pretty good start for the top 7 at least.
Yeah. They seem pretty well content, just staying in line. Looks like Sean dropped 3 positions there, being on the inside. Not sure if he just maybe got a little loose or just didn't get a good jump on that start.
Matt caught the wall just a little bit there. Saw some sparks fly up.
Yeah, Mike got him off guard there, and I definitely don't want to do too much of that.
Tony is challenging.
That's kind of what you need to do, though. Is you got to get up on that quarter panel and get that side draft, and then once you get to the corner, you can kind of take a different line in. Oh boy, Hawkins trying to go back down under.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's racing hard here. Looking around. So he's going to be that Matt tonight. So.
Yep, not saving tires at all. He's ready to race.
They do get quite a draft. So you get a run, and sometimes you may have thought, I didn't really want to do that, but I got to take it now,
Yeah.
Now he seems to be backing off a little bit. Hard to say, a little bit of angriness on those tires, and you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to see what kind of, degradation there is throughout, as far as with the tires and lap time, to really know, what's in the minds of these guys in these runs, and if they just want to stay out and not worry about an undercut. A lot of times, and I'm sure there will be, if you got a half a second or a second or more with fresh tires, then that undercut can start to look good, especially if you get a timely caution.
Yeah.
Let's see how our newcomers are doing here. Let's check in with Richard Parks.
Was he back in 11th, I think?
It's a pretty cool uniform he's got on there.
Huh.
Yeah, he's right behind Jeff Hill.
Okay. Yeah, the green and white.
Yep.
FKX, or I don't know. Sure what that.
Got the Pabst Blue Ribbon helmet there. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some OG beer right there. Of course, it depends, I guess, where you're from. I know back in the day when I was a kid, I'd see my dad and his buddies with the Oli and the and the pool tops, tin
Right.
cans.
Looks like we've separated into two groups here.
Well, when you look at the late start, so we'll leave it at that. We don't want no broadcast or jinx stuff, but we're gonna have to see how this pushes. And seems like everybody's content, and or is what it is as far as maybe being behind a little bit from other packs. I wonder if we could take a look at lap times, maybe from the leader to mid-pack, maybe compare a couple cars if you did.
I can pull up some lap times here.
Lap 12, you're less than half a tire run in, so a little bit of fuel burning off. These suckers should be handling pretty slick.
Yeah, it looks like Brewer's a little bit faster than Matt. Not by much, though.
Yeah. Not too much. Yeah.
So maybe take a look back in mid-pack there a little. And so, yeah, Watkins is pretty much losing every, 4 out of those 5 laps. That's a nice graphic there, though, to show you instantly in color, that comparison. Aero is a factor, and yes, it's a simulation, but it is surprisingly realistic and designed that way with the physics they use. And you can't just follow a guy around and expect not to start burning those front tires off. Plus, you can get guys loose there. Yeah, Bird just seemed like he got I'm a little head on watching. That already happened, kind of, but Bird got a little bit loose there and got passed by the 17 of Stuka. Like, we've seen Stuka just always really calculated and, working towards that podium methodically every race.
Well, he's patient. I think he waits for the right time to strike, it seems like. And most time he's right.
Yeah, and there are drivers, some are, they're qualifiers and racers. Some of, a lot of times the guys are just better in the race, than they were in qualifying because their natural style is to make sure they are smooth and save tires. And that's, how it works in the race.
Yeah, it's kind of like me. I can drive fast, but I can't race. I can secure a top 5 qualifying spot, but when it comes to racing, I'm not so great. But that's where it pays, to be patient and keep your cool and just run your race.
Absolutely, yeah. That's as the history of FSB. With the other sim, NASCAR 2003 was the same. Us guys that started at the beginning, like me, I was fast, so I won a lot. But then as drivers came in and everybody got more experience and learned how to race better, then it was like, oh man, I really don't know nothing. I got to start all over from scratch. Because one fast lap don't make the whole bunch, girl.
Yeah, it's kind of like me when we first switched to iRacing. I caught onto it pretty quick, but I was quickly passed by other drivers here, so I wasn't on top for very long.
Yeah, I'm definitely, when the stock car driving I did in iRacing when we first started messing with it, I definitely struggled, and that never stopped. So I had a hard time. Just always seemed just too tight and not very good at saving tires. So I can really respect these guys that can do that. Road racing was different, I took on to the road racing and iRacing pretty quick. So you're just kind of seeing guys here, this is a bitchin' battle here. And kind of strategy here. Cars that are back a little ways are not out of the picture here. And it's going to be, who's going to blink first? When you look at those laps, be interesting to see what, how much they've found, how much time they've lost. That's something I hope, when I get my computer, I can help out with a little bit is, instead of watching it, but doing it like I am now, I'll be able to, get in the server and stuff. That really helped.
Yeah, they've lost about a second and, a little over a second.
Yeah, average lap time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like about yeah. So they're in the 32s.
Yeah.
Almost the 33s where they were running low 31s and 30s to start. So that tells you that, undercut is, you got 100 laps there. So, you don't have to be a brain surgeon. And we got cars down pit road already.
Justin Bird, it looks like.
Yeah, he seemed to be struggling a little bit. This last, I don't know if I saw him hit the wall.
You might want to get a little damage fixed, but that's really, you don't really want to. It's hard to do that if you're really bad under green because you lose so much time.
Yeah, that seems a little, maybe a little
early. Yeah,
early, a little early.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying because you can do the math. 25 gives you what, 3 stops. 25, 50, 75, the 3 stop.
Some contact there. Right on
Yeah.
camera too.
Yeah. He was.
Yeah, and these guys now they gotta, some of them have raced together, some haven't, and everybody, this is where, it gets interesting because, who's gonna pit, who's not, who's gonna let each other know. Now here comes the 13 with freshies. He's going through there like a turd of hurdle.
Oh yeah.
The bird's the word. He gone. And that there shows you how much difference these tires,
massive
are adding up. Second and a half is massive, yeah. So you want to make it to 25. I think you're going to see massive pit stops here. Your next option is 33 or 34, which they can go that far. So I would not doubt if a lot of these guys are going to say, well, y'all go ahead and pit and be fast there. This is a typical strategy like I've seen so many times on these cookie cutters. You got two strategies, basically. You got the 3-stop and you got the 2-stop.
Yeah, Craig.
And the guys that usually win, when it stays green like this, a green flag smells green, but you never know. I could jinx that, but you want to stay out to at least 33, 34, and if you even go farther and not lose a whole lot of time, you'll make it up because it's one less pit stop. Pit stop delta is quite a bit. Probably what? You'd say 25, 30 seconds, maybe even more.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg Stuka just came out of the pits. So he was the next one.
Yeah, who's gonna, obviously he's like, man, I can't hang, So it's going to be a tall order. You can see it there, but if anybody's going to do it, it's that 15, bro. And also the 12. We've seen that, ever since I started watching him last year. Now, Sean Reed was always able to do that in the old sim. The better he gets in this sim, getting used to driving in the cockpit and all that stuff, the better because he's got the mindset for it and the knowledge. He knows what the car needs to do. It's just a question of being able to make the car do it. Down pit road there, Richard Parks. There's some good racing here, folks.
Yeah, Sean's holding his own tonight. He's holding it down there in 6th. Not too far off from
That's not surprised me at all, man.
Yeah, he's definitely finding his groove here.
Talent is talent. It's just a question of getting your mind, body, equipment, everything that ties in to when you're driving. It's the car's doing it, but what you want it to do. He's a multiple champion. Knows how to get it done.
Yep, certainly.
So you got the 85 at Kiger up there. He's hanging on to these tire savers,
Matt Watkins, I feel like he's just lying in wait right there behind Tony Brewer, looking for revenge from last week whenever Tony was able to get the win on him. Dane also just being patient, waiting for a time to strike.
Yeah, Matt doesn't like to lose. Nobody likes to lose, but he really doesn't like to lose. When you're, when you're good and you put that much time into it, you expect the guy to. That's why, I'm proud that he's my teammate at Donkey Bop, and we've done some, road racing together. He's tried that out and did very well. Had never done it before, except maybe a little bit of FSB, and stock cars, but never in a sports car.
Yep, there goes Shane. Shane's pitting. Sean's
pitting. It's time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Brewer's probably if he goes, he's going to go one
more.
more.
Yellow.
No, not a caution. Yellow. Looks like it was Michael Greenwood. Yeah. But it was quick apparently because he's back on the track. So
that's the fear you have. You don't want that.
Terrible time to have a caution for some of these guys, but let's rewind it here real quick and see if we can figure out what happened. I guess it was maybe a self-spin.
It wasn't really that bad of a.
Yeah. See, that was what I was talking about a little bit about just being used to racing cars on this track and knowing when they're going to pit. That's always a scary point right there. In real racing, you see that too. He just came up on him and said, "Oh crap!"
Just missed him. Look at
He's
that.
stopping.
He didn't hit him.
Yeah, but he instantly, but he tank slapped the wall, and then that shouldn't be too much. It's hard to see if maybe that broke put the steering out of whack, or oh my God, look at that.
Yeah.
That'll make your sticker pecker right there.
Now it looked like
slow motion doesn't do it justice, man. I mean, and it's even scary in slow motion.
Yeah, I think
You
if he
think,
wouldn't have,
you're looking out the windshield and like, come on, dude, you don't see that? But the level of focus it takes, sometimes your eyes and NASCAR holic there, Ken Soska, he's got some great stuff online. Check that out. But yeah, I mean, you're like, I can't believe I did that, because you're so focused on getting going, after changing your tires or whatever, cold tires, you want to push,
Yeah.
Let's see how they all ended up here, because we had some guys going down pit lane when this caution came out. So
Yeah, I think if they are, he'll probably get the wave around. If they were a lap down or on the end of the end. Let's see.
Well, I think Atkins got out. So question was, did Brewer get out? And did Jones pit yet?
I think Matt's is coming out of
and Sokup and Reese,
Shane and Matt are just coming out of the pits again, so they may have
Soska. We got to figure out if those guys are still going to have to pit after when the pits are open, which I can't see.
Yeah, we're getting some wave arounds.
The pits should be open after a lap there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's hard to see, when Watkins was coming out.
Yeah, he'll be on the lead lap, but I think he'll be.
Well, any of these guys that are still on the lead lap and go to the back, I expect them to come back in and top off with fuel before it goes. Just get that one little more. We'll have to see where Watkins ends up there, but in 7th place, probably not.
No, they can't. Their pits are closed. So we're getting ready to go green. So yeah, we got Tony, Dan Jones, TJ Reese, Travis, Shane, and Matt. There's a green flag.
Yeah, so Brewer came out there like the Rose.
He sure did.
Yep.
He's got.
And he just finds a way to do that. So
got his nemesis there in the back, Matt Watkins, along with several other fast guys. Sean Reap managed to get back to 11th.
Yeah.
It's like something might happen to Jeff Hill here. That's interesting. No yellow.
He must have spun it. He's been inside.
Yeah. Interesting. This time, totally different start. These guys kind of fell asleep a little bit back there, I think. Everybody's trying to figure out what the heck happened, and didn't get that, reset down, because Brewer's taking off and leaving them.
Yeah.
And you got Jones and Sokup. Mr. Bond always gets the hot chick. Let's see if he can get the trophy too here.
Yeah. Get that guitar.
Get that guitar. Ken Soska up there to 6, doing what he does in NIS, and he's, he's in Division 4. He's got a chance at the championship in NIS, which is that's basically putting yourself out there against everybody in the entire world and saying, hey, I'm going to race all these different races, and then everybody's points get put together, and we figure out who finishes where. Obviously, only 30 some odd cars can run on the track, but you're talking thousands of people, and in each division. Division 4, that ranks your I rating and amount of how you run, and if you go out Division 3, that becomes the super studs, the top 100 or whatever is Division 1. Or I don't know what they call that, the pro division, world class pro. So, he's pretty good. Well, he knows how to finish races and race, for good finishes and run clean. So we'll see if he can bring that forward there. Took it back there a little bit. Tiger showed me something there too. I mean, all these guys, they're legit, man.
Like Jeff Hale's having some issues. He was kind of getting off the track there.
Yeah, I don't know if he came down the pits. I don't know if he had a black flag or something. But yeah, we see Travis up here, right on the bumper of Tony. So he's trying to put some pressure on Tony. And then Dan Jones is right there. First two we see these guys right up front, and then Shane is not too far back, so up there with him. Let's see if Sean or Matt can work their way back up there. I imagine the next pit stop they'll probably short pit and get some track position. Hopefully, no caution while you're pitting.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Well, if you want to make it on one more run, you got to get to at least 66, I would say, or 67 to go, and that's pushing it. You'd rather get to, a few laps even more. With these caution laps and everything, they're going to be able to go to that. So, like you said, but can they go to either way? They're going to have to stop.
Yeah.
One more time. So.
Man,
but that is short pitting, because they can go a lot farther. They just can't go all the way.
Yeah.
I always hate it. That was always so dang frustrating when you go to when you're having a good run, you go into the pits and the caution comes out. That always seemed to happen to me when I was having a good race.
Yeah.
Well, racing is just full of ways to disappoint you.
Yeah.
You fix one problem, and then another one comes up, or you do everything right, and a problem comes up anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, being around it for real, with my dad being a racer, it was nothing but disappointment. It was an occasional, amazing, oh my God, we won, But most of the time, it was disappointment and a lot of work, and then it's over. See you next week. Thanks for playing. Great green racing, though. Man, I like it, I'm not, I'm not online right now, but I'm always watching like a couple of my teammates, on Discord running. I put it on my phone, and they always run the same tracks we're running here. And man, that stuff can get brutal, absolutely brutal. And and they're all telling each other, none of them, it's nobody's fault. So. Like the Led Zeppelin song, nobody's fault but mine. Well, yeah, if you run in the back of somebody, it's probably your fault.
Yeah.
What was that? Dale Jr. said that about Carson Hocevar this weekend. They asked him, and he was like, "Well, I'll have to look at the play." So afterwards, Dale Jr. was like, "Well, I'm just going to say it. When you run in the back of somebody, that's wrecking."
Yeah, we've got.
So it's kind of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, Justin Bird, he retired. I don't know if he was having issues or.
Oh, dang.
But he pulled it in lap 47 and discoed.
Dang, hate to see that.
Well, yeah, it's hard to say. Yep. Hopefully, as we go on and do more broadcasts, because I love that part of it, man. When I get on a computer and get going, man, and I can, check out stuff, it's going to be cool. Then try to get out there and drive, and then really, I'll be lucky if I can run in the back. So,
yeah,
in the rear with the gear. Well, that'll be fun too, we got studs out here, and then we got guys that have been running forever and, gone through all kinds of personal life stuff, and year after year show up. Just look forward to running here at FSB because they know what they're going to get, good, clean racing, good sportsmanship, and that's how it's done, an organization, and that's how it's done.
That's what it's all about, too.
I just, for me, there's nothing like speed racing, in stock cars anyway. So as we get, they're just, this is, and everybody's right there and can see everybody. Ain't nobody running away with this. And, pit stops are going to be huge. And if they're green flag, it's going to be everything. I know, like Matt Watkins, when he gets in these situations, green flag pit stop, he's either going to pull the one that you can't believe and be successful, or he's going to get busted because he's going to go for it.
Yeah.
He's made his, career on that. And he'll live with it. So that'll be exciting,
Kinsaska's having a good run tonight. Pulling it down in 6th place right now. Creeping up on Dan
but
Jones.
no practice, no nothing, no no practice at all. Running the Cup car, which is a completely different animal with Marconi setup, an open setup, Division A, that's the top division. That's a completely different car. So, he did exactly what I expected him to do. Get in the back and, well, actually, he said he wasn't going to race and he was going to get in the booth. And as soon as I started talking, I said, "Yeah, man, I'm going to broadcast. I'm going to get in there a little bit." He was like, "Screw it, I'm racing."
Yeah.
Well, look how good you done. Saska, not Soska. I guarantee if he wins, he's going to do the Polish victory lap because, Alan, he is Polish American, and also, Alan Kowicki was his favorite driver. So, and when you check out his NASCAR-aholic stuff on YouTube, this guy. Hey, this guy knows like 50 years of racing because he was there watching it. He's a big like Sean Reed. Also. Sean Reed's an encyclopedia.
That's very true, because I feel like anytime I've ever asked him about the history of a track, or like, a driver or a car, he's been very quick to just drop so much like history knowledge on me. It's honestly like impressive.
Yeah, we would start broadcasts, we used to broadcast on Friday night, and I had no idea what he was going to say. He didn't really have any idea what I was going to say. It's like, well, how many beers did he have, Milt? Well, you should be pretty loosened up tonight. And then all of a sudden he would just start going off on like, Darrell Walker did this here, and he won this many times, and he's just pulling this off the top of his head,
Yeah.
Watkins has moved himself up to third, pushing really hard there. Dan Jones back a little bit. Saska, he might be, still trying to figure this car out a little bit. And I don't really want to push. I just want to make a good stop. But Watkins has definitely turned the afterburner on. Looks like he's coming up on Pops and going to go a lap down there. Pops Martinson, man. I mean, just awesome. He's on the track, man. Dude's lived a life, man, and fights a good fight and comes back and races and loves it. Lives for it.
Got Richard Parks coming out of the pits here.
So we got stops here. We were thinking 66. That's pretty darn early.
Yeah, he decided to come in a little bit early.
Yeah.
Is he going to two-stop it?
I don't
maybe
think
he hit
should.
something, or car looks okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Tony, Travis, and Matt and Shane all last pitted on lap 36. So.
Yeah, and then that you had the caution lap, so there's no way they can't make it to 66 unless they just really. You never know. Temperature changes, and you just can't guarantee that you're going to have the same kind of tires you had on the last run. It just you just don't know. It never works that way. Tracks change. You got rubber getting laid down. All these options are available in iRacing. It makes it, just such an awesome sim. And these camera angles here, maybe we can check out some, or maybe we want to wait until we get pit stops over here and then check out some of your, gyro cam stuff. Up to you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've actually used it a few times on the roof cam.
Right on.
But I want to get a good in-car shot with it too, so maybe we'll work towards that.
Yeah, every week drivers get better, and we'll get a little better at broadcasting. It's already pretty good. Can't wait to watch it on the big screen when I'm done. I'm not going back to work, I guess, till Wednesday, so I got nothing better to do.
See, all right, we're at lap 66. You think people are going to start pitting here, or?
Gotta think about it.
Yeah.
They don't want to get caught up with that caution. Is Matt Watkins thinking that? He's like, well, I raced myself up to P3. What's these guys going to do? What's Sokup and Brewer going to do? Brewer's been out front with clean air, and he's running a pretty blistering pace, but not that much. He's kind of like, yo-yoing on the string here, so we got cars down pit road.
Just same. Yeah, Richard is down pit road.
Sean, I think, is down there too. Sean Bound.
Oh, and he's gone.
Yeah, Sean.
I think.
Yeah.
Comes Sean out the pits right now.
Yep.
We had another car go into the garage area.
Yeah, that was Richard. He must have. Yep, Tony still has not hit. Matt has went around Travis. Shane not pitted.
So they're in the window. So they really, now it's like a cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
We're in the lead and we're pulling away. So if I'm Matt Watkins now, and Tony, all three of the leaders, I'm like, we don't need to stop yet. Because we can go longer and lose a little time. Let's see you guys stop without screwing up on pit road and crashing. Then if you do that, then we'll stop, and we still are going to have it. Our pit road delta is not going to kill us. So pretty smart. That's what I would do right now. It's like,
Yeah, we got some
I'm
good
staying
people
out
coming in.
because, I can come in and out and not lose my position
Yeah,
unless
we
I
got
mess
Sean
up on
Reap.
pit road.
Sean Reap went in the pits. Let's see.
Yeah, that's what they need, because they need to try to
There goes Tony.
hope these guys stay out and make some time.
Yeah,
I don't
Tony
think
goes
they
in
will very long.
with the leader.
Looks like Matt is still out there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I think he'll stop this lap. Another
Shane right
reason is
behind
because
him.
he don't want nobody. He wants to make sure nobody's in the way, because he wants to pull off a Matt Watkins pit stop. And here he comes,
There he
sideways,
comes.
going in,
Yeah.
smoking at the
And
line.
there's Shane Wisman right behind him.
That's Matt Watkins, ladies. Man, he got sideways off that. Man, he still got it, whatever that is, blowing some bubbles with that bazooka gum like nothing.
Yeah, he must have had he was going to pit right on lap 71.
Probably near 20, 15 years or so in this league or so. He's been doing that.
Let's see where he comes out in front of Tony. Here comes Tony onto the.
Yeah, didn't really see Tony stop, but there
goes Tony right around.
Yeah, so hey, he had a great stop there, and Matt staying out. Tony executed better. That's very impressive. Watkins, I don't see anything he could have really done better there. So fantastic. So that puts the rest of these guys are going to have to stop.
Ooh, Dan Jones coming in hot. He managed to stop it though before it got too crazy.
Mr. Bond.
Now Ken is still out.
Yeah, Ken
He
still
stayed out.
Still hanging on.
Yeah.
Whoa! Yeah. Yeah, I'm watching it a little bit late. Sorry, I didn't catch it on the other feed. So I'm just watching Dan Jones get through there, slicker and snot.
Ken is really extending. He last pitted lap 36, so he is. He has to pit next lap.
See, that's impressive.
Yeah.
He's got something cooking here.
Well, the thing is if he, he's going to have to stop, and then if there's a, caution, he's still, before he stops, he's still going to have to stop. He's going to lose that track position. So, yeah,
he is still out there.
I think he wants some TV time for the Hardy car.
He must. He wants some.
Whose car was that? Everything he does is all about, somebody drove, in the past. Hardy's got, I should know that.
All right, he has to be. Yeah, he's coming in definitely.
I can't take the camera off of him because I want to see what he does. There he goes.
Yeah, he's coming in.
There he goes.
Yeah, well, he went 40 laps.
Wow.
That's
a good stop too.
Yeah.
Or a good entry rather.
Yeah.
He puts a lot of work in, and does a very good job there. And that he has that, having the kind of I rating he has out there in public, it's hard to do, because you can get beat up out there, and you can be minding your own business, and all it does is it hurts you out there. That's, league racing, ain't about that. So it's going to recycle back to, the driver of the race here. Tony there is just, he just continues to, impress. And, it just wasn't, him and Bird, or a lot of times it's the two of them, and it just wasn't Bird's night, Sometimes they have those. Way to go.
Yeah, but he's got Travis and Matt right on him.
Yeah, he's a little bit
Stoke
faster than
Cup
Travis right now.
is legit, man.
Yeah.
So these guys are going to put on a show here. Bounty trying to stay up here. That's going to, I don't know if he's had the pace to keep up with these guys. He's going to have to push, as they say in Europe, a little harder. Mr. Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, well, he pitted 4 laps earlier than these guys. Matt has the freshest tires by just 1 lap. So
yeah, it's almost negligible unless he's
Yeah.
making an effort to really save them.
Right, yeah. For that last 20.
Yeah, he's a little bit
How
faster
aggressive
than
are these
Travis.
guys going to be? That's the
Well,
question.
Travis, Travis is really driving it in deep in that corner.
With 23 to go still, and putting the tires, pushing too hard can still have an effect on your car. So you're going to want to find some clear air a little bit. You can see rim riding the bottom for the 12 is the way to go. They're going to have to go around them, and as long as he can keep it down there, they're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, I don't think you could do maybe on the restart you could go on the outside, but I don't think a full pass on the outside is going to happen. You're going to have to get right on him and maybe use the chrome bumper.
Well, we can't count Sean Bounty out. Looks like he's making a little bit of progress here. Unless I'm just seeing things.
Well, definitely these newer guys, to me, I'd like to get to know them a little bit, see, if they'd like us to talk about them a little bit, where they live, what they do, yada, yada. These other guys that I know from, I know them. So, obviously it's like I know where they live. And I know their hit racing history and stuff. Be interesting to see because these guys didn't just come out the cornfield, They know how to race.
Yeah. We'll see. Matt's going to try. Yep. Matt's under Travis. Yep. Goes Matt. Matt goes around Travis. See if he can get to Tony.
Yeah, the trucks were able to get a run and get down under and root the other truck and make them get loose, putting the air on them at the end there. And I think that's just what Matt Watkins just had just done there. So he made that move. We're going right into the corner and he's going to try to do that with Tony. But Travis is not he's not done yet.
No, he's not.
With this many laps left, what you want to do is kind of cool your tires off a little bit and, let these guys go at it. And, don't try to push right now and hit the wall and stuff, All 3 of these cars are clean. That makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when these guys get side by side, that's when you attack. Go right after them.
He's like, well, I ain't making no mistakes, so I don't know about you, but good luck.
Yeah.
So far, I mean, just like, I'm like, every lap is like exactly the same thing. Yeah, we got the bazooka cam there. Here's gum in your eye. I just stepped on a piece of bazooka. Now, how far is it going to get to where these guys might start to get cute a little bit, or now I see Tony kind of starting to like want to, kind of get out the air and disturb the air of the 15 a little. He's taking a little different line now, and kind of vice versa. They're playing a little cat and mouse here. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go on a stretch because I haven't watched the other league races. You guys were talking about last week. That wasn't at the other track. So our broadcast. So these guys definitely run against each other and know each other. I know what it's like to race Matt Watkins, and that was 10 years ago, easy, maybe longer, and he's just gotten better. I remember when he first started talking about iRacing, I was like, I'd like you to come to our iRacing team and be a donkey, on Donkey Bop, and maybe run some road races. And he was like, well, I'll think about it. And I go, we got old FSB guys there and stuff. When I'm ready, he's like, when I'm ready, I'm going to do it, And then out of the blue, he told me, he goes, okay, I'm ready, And, he mostly does his own thing, with the stock cars and racing in all these different leagues and stuff. But he's also stopped by and hung out to, run some, Daytona 24 hours, stuff like that with us, and, ran really well. But I've always just been a huge fan, even though, sometimes, we were competitors. So you gain the ultimate respect for a guy, I mean, I wrecked him out of the win of the Indy 500, FSB Indy 500. Plain and simple. I didn't mean to do it, but it was 2 laps ago, and I really wanted that trophy, and I thought it was clear, and it wasn't, He never said a word, and I was sure glad, because the next year I was the announcer on the race, and he won it, so... I was glad because
happens to the best of us, I knew I'm guilty of it myself, so.
Yeah, I knew her. Both my teammates were like, "Dude, you just punted him, man." I was like, I expected him to tell. That was a big race. 3.5 hours in a sim rig to win a race. That's a long ass race, Okay, we're coming up on 10 to go. Enough about me. It looks like it's these two. And Travis just, couldn't. You're seeing the cream of the crop here, and I don't know, at the top, the Danish cream here is Tony Brewer. Gets
it's so cool watching these guys because everything they do, they're so precise. Everything they do is intentional. The way they change the lines, their braking points or the points where they let off and all that. It's just it's so cool to watch.
Drivers. I mean, we're not like scrubs, and we know, there's no way none of us could even get close to these dudes, I mean, and we know that, and we're watching it. It's just like you're watching it on TV, and this is professional racing here. It's good stuff. There's still time, so. Field's pretty much spread out. It was a great race through the whole time. I think just attrition on a lot of guys. By the end there, it just, getting that second run and, like you were saying, putting the car in the right position, that takes energy, I mean, we all have our own, like, real lives, but, a simulator is like, well, you're playing a game, dude. No way. This is a simulation. But you're driving, you got brakes, you got to use brakes here, We haven't even really talked about that, You don't use a lot, but you would think this is a track that you could just roll around on, but your center corner speed has to get down, I mean, I haven't driven it, but I heard Dale Jr. say that, so... What Dale Jr. says goes, man.
Oh,
Yeah, Matt's driving a little bit harder, I think, in some of these turns.
yeah, he seems to be a little harder in 3 and 4. And then Tony seems to have a really good 1 and 2.
We're catching some lap
He's
traffic
trying.
here, so
That could be interesting. Trying to at least stay a half a car length off for the most part when he's following.
See, Matt's got a good run.
Yeah, he did.
Run. 2 to go.
Tick.
There we go.
Money time.
Just can't. Tony,
Just like you guys said, 3 and 4 better, 1 and 2. So he's got to do that 3 and 4 better here.
Yeah.
And then try to do a better 1 and 2 again to get closer. But I don't know. Because he does. He's gaining a little bit coming out of 3 and 4 here.
So we've got 2
Not
to
the
go
same
here
as
now.
last time, though. It got tight on him.
Now
Man,
it's 2 to
Tony
go.
is a freaking stud, dude. He is not scared.
No.
He's scared by a dog. The 12 is not tripping. But he's got some lap traffic here on the last lap.
Yeah.
This is for all the marbles. I'm the lap car. I'm staying high here. That's a veteran there, Ken Soska, but instead he comes down low in front of him. Oh! And that made it interesting, but
87. That looks like Lester Gibson.
you know, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. I couldn't tell. I was watching the small feed. My bad. Yeah, I didn't expect Soska to do that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm staying up. Man, I'm getting out the way, and I'm a lap down.
All right. That's going to do it right there.
But, you know, no harm, no foul. So, great racing.
Tony
Didn't
Brewer takes
affect
the
the
checkered again.
outcome. Tony Brewer just won this dang thing. And great run by Watkins and Travis in third there and Shane in fourth.
Yeah, Tony's proven
Bounty
time and time
top
again,
5.
you know, that he's a skilled driver. You know, Matt Watkins, of course, you know, one of our best drivers here, and you know, for Tony to keep him at bay like that, it's always impressive to watch. But
I know
that's the
these
way it
guys
goes.
run in other leagues, and I know they do well. So it's a privilege to have, you know, these are legitimate dudes, man.
Oh, no doubt. There he goes.
That makes me proud, you know, for FSB and throughout, you know, we're still attracting great drivers. And smoke them if you got them here. Let's see what Brewer does for the point out. Yup.
There he goes.
Yes, sir. Woo, love that camera work there. The tires up in the grass. The fans. I think I saw Dale Jr. right there.
All right, let's go round up the top 3 here. Looks like Brewer, Watkins, and Sukup.
So Tony's going to be like in the booth while he's still doing the burnout? Wait, no, okay, so he's done now.
So I think he's about done. Yeah, it looks like it.
All right, man. We got to get him out there real quick. We only got so much TV time here, man. This is like this isn't Prime, man. Prime, they're giving you a beer. If I could give you a beer, you know, I don't know if you guys watched the Prime broadcast. That was pretty cool. They were giving all the drivers that came up to the stand, you know, having a beer with them.
Nice.
That's, you know, that almost sold me. I think I'm going to buy Prime, you know. Screw it.
All right, we got the winner's car pulled up here. The winner's circle. Just got to get the final results up here for everyone to see. And come on. There we go. Can't forget the sponsor. All right, folks.
Great job on the camera there, and you too, Adam, with the feed there. Gave me a lot of info to look at. I mean, we're getting better at this every week.
Yeah,
no doubt. All right, we're going to round up the top 3. So if you're still watching, hang tight. We'll be right back with the post-race interviews. All right, everyone, and we're back. We got the top 3 finishers down here in the booth with us. Tony Brewer, Matt Watkins, Travis Sukup. To start off, we'll go with our 3rd place finisher, Travis Sukup. Travis, it's good seeing you. You haven't raced with us in a while, I don't think. But again, good seeing you out there. So tell us about your nights. What was your strategy, and how did everything play out for you?
I just got real lucky when the caution come out. I was about to come in. I saw the guy spin. I was able to stay out there, so it gave me good track position.
Right on. Yeah, we saw where that kind of played out to your advantage. Awesome. What was the how was the tire wear for you?
Not real good. I knew the top 2 guys. I knew what they were doing. I didn't know when to run hard and when to not. So they definitely saved a lot better than I did.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm not sure about the tires, I just find myself just copying what the guy in front of me is doing, who I know is good at saving tires. So sometimes that's my strategy when I'm out there running.
Yeah, we tried to cheat. I tried to cheat with them, but by the time I got behind them, it was too late. I'd already lost my right front.
Yeah, you could see yourself getting this Mel here, man. I don't know if this is the first time I've seen you, but yeah, great run, dude, man. Yeah, you could see it kind of going away there, and they, that second run, but still, good execution, and then, a little bit of luck doesn't hurt. I mean, the quality of drivers out here to get a top 3 against these guys, that's a great finish, man.
Awesome. Yeah, we definitely had a good time. I think that the biggest thing I was trying to do is not kill myself too much to lose 3rd place. So I knew I didn't have anything for the leaders. I was just trying to hang on to 3rd.
Well,
yeah, we were kind of seeing that in the broadcast there. It was like, because a couple times you could just see it really getting tight there. And you always wonder, with these great guys, how much they're actually saving. And then when you find out, you're like, my God, man, we pitted like around the same time, right? What happened?
Yeah. Well, again, Travis, appreciate you coming out, man. Good finish. Hope to see you again next week.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Appreciate what you guys do. We'll be out here next week.
Awesome.
Right on.
All right, P2, Matt Watkins. Matt, I think my first question for you is that caution. The first caution came out at what I'm assuming is a bad time. We weren't sure if you got your pit in or not before the caution, but we think we might saw you loop around and go back in. So just kind of walk us through that and tell us what happened there.
Yeah, as soon as I hit pit road, a caution come out, so I had to go back around, or otherwise I possibly had gotten lapped. So worth the risk to try to get service and then get out in time. So I just drove around one time. Then I drove around the second time because the leaders were only like 2 seconds behind me, so I thought I might get lapped again. So I just kept on driving through until I thought I could safely pit.
Right on. Yeah. We kind of had to switch some other stuff there, I think, in the meantime, but we weren't sure if you finished your pit sequence or not. But yeah, either way,
Yeah, that was friggin' smart, dude. Because I was, of course, you know me, I just drive the car. I'm not very smart. But you had to do that twice because I was shocked that you came out like at 7th. I thought, nah, dude's going to the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, it's a tough situation that might have could have got by with pitting. I probably should have tried it because once I got back, our chance to win was over unless we got another caution. So I probably should have just tried to pit and go for it. But it is what it is.
Yeah, you can.
Well, I mean, you went through the field afterwards, so I was like, okay, 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, and then you got another shot there where you could regroup. But man, Tony that dude can roll, man.
Hard guy to catch. We've seen that, time and time again. But yeah, Matt. Either way, man, good finish. Fun watching you guys out there duke it out for several laps.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Hope to see you again next week. All right, Tony. Another win, 2 in a row. Man, you were.
Yeah, man.
You were smoking out there, dude.
Well, the number 12.
Did you get caught up in that
Filter Time
caution?
Chevy was lights out.
Yeah. Right on. Did you get caught up in that first caution on pit road? I couldn't remember who all was on pit lane. When that caution came out.
I was still out. I was gonna go another lap or two, and that caution come out, and it worked out perfect for me. So, I'm glad I stayed long, which I planned on running long. And there at the end, when Watkins got behind me, I knew he went one lap further than I did on that last pit stop, and I was like, man, he's got better tires. I hope I can hold him off,
Well, you managed to do it. I think he closed the gap a little bit there at the end, but you still had a comfortable enough lead where it didn't look like he was going to quite catch you.
Yeah, he had that one run, with 2 laps to go there, I think, where he got a better run than you out of 4. But then you still had enough distance, and then you were better than him in 1 and 2, and you could see as soon as he went into 1 and center of 1, he was pushing up. That was it.
Yeah, I was worried that lap traffic, I was like, man, he might get me right here. So I was just trying to get around as quick as I could, and luckily it worked out.
That's funny. I
got to apologize to Ken Soska because I thought it was his car. I was looking at the small feed, but it was a different guy there. But yeah, probably want to, move out the way a little better when the leaders are coming through there. But that's racing. You guys figured it out. Nobody crashed.
Yeah, it was a great race, man. I had a blast. I had a great car, man. It was just on rails, So it helped me a lot.
Awesome, man. It's good seeing you out there again. Hope you come back next week.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, guys. That's all I got. Appreciate you all coming down for a little post-race interview. It looks like next week we're going to be at Michigan International Speedway for our 6th race of this season. So if you're out there in the audience, haven't raced with us yet, come on by. Going to be a good show.
Well, appreciate y'all broadcasting again, man.
Yeah,
great race.
It's good to have you guys. So we'll see you guys again next week, and good night.